Yeah, this is Cheap Books bringing you another video which is going to cover flanking, and it's going to have sniping. You're going to see some flanking in this video that I have not shown before in previous videos. You're going to see some amazing flanking, and you're going to see also some flanking that also is in some of my previous videos. You're going to see some sniping, and you're going to see a little bit of other tactical strategy videos. On to the videos. I'm going to show you a sniping position on airfield. You can look on the minimap to see where I am. Very simple. You come to this location and you can shoot across there and look on the mini-map. That hill is in enemy territory, and the enemy tanks think that it's safe for them to be there. You notice that I minimized it to show the least amount of my tank, and I spotted that comet over there. It's very tricky to line it up so that the enemy can't shoot you, but this is something that you want to know, this position for future reference if you see that there's enemy tanks over there that you want to shoot at. But you do have to be careful because other tanks can hit you if they know that you're there, including the artillery. This tank is the T-34-100. This is a Czechoslovakian Tier 7 medium tank, and the map is Siegfried Line. This is going to be an awesome game. I'm going to go all the way to the east side, on the other side of the lakes. I'm going to get behind the enemy, and I'm going to snipe at them from behind. For the most part, I'm going to be hitting them on the side armor, because I'm not going to be much high into the north until more near the end of the game. So I'm going to be hitting tanks such as a Ferdinand, which is weakly armored. My strategy is to head for the red line, with one exception. Right over here, I'm not going to go over the Dragon's Teeth. I'm going to take a little bit of a detour around the teeth, head for that red line, try not to knock down any trees. You'll notice I don't have a full spotting range. Head for the lake, stay as low, as close to the water as possible. Go into the water if you have to. Stay low, head for that red line. Nobody spotted me. The problem that I'm going to have is because the enemy doesn't leave the town, it's going to be difficult to find targets to shoot at. However, you see where that Ferdinand is. That's a place where you're easily going to find targets. And notice I'm double bushing, so I'm shooting. It's not really double bushing, but I'm far enough away from him that the bushes in front of me are going to obscure me. I'm going to keep the Ferdinand spotted. I'm going to advance to spot him, and then reverse when I want to take a shot. I'm going to hit that side armor. I like to use the auto aim because driving is very important. Because you're going to have to constantly advance forward to spot, reverse, and angle your armor, because he's going to take some shots at me. Notice what he's doing. He's angling his tank in my direction, and he will shoot at me. He knows I'm here. The enemy is going to do too little too late. Difficult to know if he's facing me. It looks like his rear is facing me. I'm really not sure. He is on the other side of the rubble. So he's in a difficult position because where he's in, he can be sniped from where the E-25 is approaching on my team in the middle of the map. He can be sniped across through the middle. I did lose him, and what I want to do is take up a new position, obviously. Advancing a little bit further north is a little bit riskier. This is not enough to turn the tide in this particular game. Got to take a more risky position. As you can see, they suspect that I'm here, so a tank is going out here looking for me. But he's also, he potentially has enough cover between me and him that I'm not going to get spotted. I don't know how I got spotted. It's possible that that Ferdinand spotted me. So because I was spotted, you'll see I can shoot at that Ferdinand again. There was no incoming fire, but they do know that I'm in this position now. And they know which tank I am. I've had games where I've played this position and you cause a lot of havoc. But like I said, because people are very conservative, they don't take risks, they stay within the town, it's not that strong, but you do want to be in a position like this to give your team an edge. Now, the way to advance is to stay close to the building. The reason why is you don't want to be out here in the open because they can spot you if you're up on the hill. You want to keep these trees and houses in front of you as much as possible and make your way to the corner. This is a very powerful position, this corner over here, because you can hit the tanks that are up there and you can shoot through the map. Now, obviously that tank, it's to their advantage to shoot at me. So in order to be safe, you have to head for that house over there. And that's going to be your safest position. See, the E-25 took a shot at me. From here, yeah, I'm safe, but I can't really participate in the game. So this is not a great position to be in. What I should have done is gone to the house. And that's what I often do. Hopefully he'll be out of the game soon. So I got 2 kills. I did 900 damage. The score is 9-9. You'll notice that the enemy is predominantly on the northern part of the map. Don't be too timid. Watch the score. It's 10-11. Don't be afraid to drive around the map. I mean, if it's 0-0, you don't want to be here in enemy territory, but it's not 0-0 anymore. You take your hit and run tactics. He got a lucky shot in on me. But use hit and run. Hit him once and then leave. Hit him once, let your allies worry about him. He's coming after me. I'm hoping he has a long reload. I screwed it up because when I went into the sniper mode, I couldn't locate where his tank was. So he got some damage in on me that I really should not have taken. The score is 11-11. Got 1,200 damage. Being spotted in this position, very dangerous, because that now they're going to know the direction that I'm heading and the direction that I'm about to turn. They know I'm heading this way. They know I'm coming after them. So the Black Prince, the M6, the E-25, it would have been better if they didn't know and I could sneak up on them. Now I notice that the Black Prince is a one-shot. He's out of the game. They're going to be under the assumption, the M6 and the E-25, they assume, oh, I'll just hide behind a building. Everyone's going to be afraid to come after me. Not me. I'm not afraid to go after you. Ooh, nice. Unfortunately, I'm spotted now. They know I'm coming, but I hunt them down. I didn't take the right turn. That was a mistake. I didn't read the map correctly. And over here, I made another mistake. You see these umbrellas? When I saw the umbrellas, I confused it for a tank. So I thought that I was... Because as you look right now, the umbrellas are under the arches, and I thought, oh, I see the tank through the arches, but I really didn't. So I got confused. When I went into the sniper mode, there was nothing there. So that was a mistake that I made. And then, of course, no tank. So I screwed that up. Waited for the M6, flubbed the shot. Now let's look at the angle that I have. Not the best angle. It's okay, but you really want to be turned a little bit more. I guess it's 4 or 5 degrees more. And a split second later, he was taken out of the game. And look at the angle that I ended up with. You know, that's just a horrible angle. So I didn't have the proper angle. I don't remember if I watched this game through to the end, but we're probably going to win this game. The E-25, oh, I think the Scorpion's going to ram him, and that's it. So the E-25 only has 20 hit points left. The smart thing for him to do is to increase his distance from our team. Okay, he's out of the game. So when you have a tank like the E-25 and you don't have a turret, you want to be far away from the enemy. When you're close, you have a disadvantage because the enemy just has to drive around you and you can't shoot at them. So get as far away as possible and then try and spot them and snipe at them. And that's the game, 15-3. This tank is a Chrysler GF. It's an American Tier 8 heavy tank. It's also a premium tank. The map is Ruinberg. You'll notice I'm heading to the field on the east side, much to the dismay of the low on my team, who is demanding that I head to town, and he's going to express his sarcastic response. He's saying, "Nice GF." He doesn't like the fact that I'm heading towards the field. Watch this video. You're going to want to watch this video. This is an amazing video. I am top tier, and it's a Tier 6, Tier 7 game. Most of the tanks are not able to penetrate my tank, and I don't have a strong gun. But the Chrysler GF is a fast tank, even though it's a heavy tank. It's got strong frontal armor, a rather weak gun. However, again, because the enemy tanks are lower tier, should be no problem for my gun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a strategy where I'm going to be very aggressive in this game. I'm always going to make sure, notice that I'm making sure that my armor is angled properly against the Cromwell, except for, of course, when I'm repositioning. I'm going to go as fast as I can. The tank, the KV-3 is out of the game. I was going to go after him. I was worried about going after him because my rear armor would have been shown to the Cromwell, but the A44 must have taken him out. I'm going to go in quickly. I'm going to be very risky, expose my tank, and I'm just going to chase after these guys. Because of my strong armor and my speed, this, you know, it's only 35 kilometers, but it's got great mobility. I mean, what are they going to do? He's already out of the game. Someone else killed him. He's out of the game. That's one kill. It's seal clubbing is what it is. Ram him. Obviously, you're going to go and ram. He tried to get away, just barely missed him. Got to be careful when you turn the tank because there's enemy tanks everywhere. So I was a little bit confused for a second. It screwed up my game a little bit because I was worried about showing my rear to some of the enemy tanks. Very low on hit points right now. I got 1,600 damage. Still doing the proper angle. The score is already 6-1. So in 2.5 minutes, we cleaned up in the field. Notice that in town, most of the enemy tanks are still alive. It's 7-1. So because I played the way I did, very aggressive, getting behind everybody, you wouldn't do that with another tank, but this tank is ideal for doing it. Look at that shot that I took to the rear of my turret there. So now we're cornering the enemy. Scores 8-1. We're going to get around them, and that's it. Now the enemy is being swarmed by medium tanks, and it looks like there's a T-29 behind me also. Normally you don't go over an enemy base unless you intend to cap. There is one exception, which is when you have no choice. On this map, you really have no choice. Notice I'm still keeping the proper angle. You're going to ram the tanks. KV tanks are always difficult. I wanted to ram him, but I was unable to because an ally got in front of me. Scores 12-1. 2 tanks just fell. 14-1. Got the Carnarvon left. Will I get it? Now that's an example where I use the auto aim and I have the philosophy, fire as fast as you can. If you go into the sniper mode and you pick a spot, it can take a little bit longer to aim. There's arguments in favor of both. You can use a sniper mode to get him right as he appears, or you can use the auto aim and get that fast shot in. I want to shoot as fast as I can before my allies get a shot on him. I got 1,980 damage total, 400 spotting damage. I thought this was a great game, and I would definitely do it again on this map. If you got a fast, heavy armored tank, do the field and clean up and seal club. This tank is the Defender. I believe it's called the Object 252U. It's a Russian Tier 8 heavy tank. It's also a premium tank. The map is Paris. This is an absolute wonderful tank. It's totally worth the money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flank the enemy team. I don't think I'm going to have a high damage game, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to position myself so that I can confuse the enemy and allow my team to take advantage of the enemy's improper response to my maneuver. Now, I've tried flanking so many times, but if you take the first two avenues, very easy for you to get spotted. But if you go this way, look at where I am on the minimap. Where the Jagdtiger is and the E50, if they advance, they're going to be spotted by the two roads opposite. And if there's the empty road on my side, if you go down that road, you'll easily be spotted. But if you go here, there's only a short second gap where you can be spotted. But then you can advance to the center. And you only have to worry about tanks such as the AMX. Well, the AMX-30, he's on the far side of the map. Now you only have to worry about tanks that are over here. But as you know, these tend to be light tanks or fast medium tanks like the AMX-30 and the Leopard, which are lightly armored. And they mostly have to hide if they're in this position, and they're looking for suckers. So you can easily advance to the center from this position, which is why I went this way. You've got a short window where you got to worry about what's going to happen. You can duck around where you only have to worry about a tank who might be here, and yes, there will be tanks here, just as we have the Jagdtiger and the E50. Don't be surprised if there's a heavily armored tank destroyer. The ones with the strong frontal armor will set up in these positions, and they'll sit there for a while. You'll notice that there's no enemy tanks over here. However, they will go to that position, and if they do, I'll be sitting here waiting for them. So we advance to the next location. Now let's look at where I am. You can see from here there's only a little tiny spot where they can shoot at me. And I can hide from it easily by taking up a position, by going forward, for example. And that is cleared out. Don't have to worry about that. Now we go around the corner. There's a couple of tanks over here. Let's see what happens. Got the E50. And notice that you can take up a side-scraping position from here. So now the E50, he's pointing his gun at me. The FCM-50T, he's pointing his gun at me. Getting some ricochets. You'll notice that I'm pointing, I have piked armor on this tank, so I'm pointing my piked armor towards the enemy FCM-50T. And the Jagdtiger and E50 realize that it's safe, so they've advanced. Using high explosive rounds, guess what's going to happen? 95 damage. While I'm reloading, I got a long reload, I'm trying to protect my armor. Another HE round. Only need a little sliver of the tank. 122 damage. I've got enough rounds to do 700 or 800 damage to that FCM-50T. And you don't have to be accurate. Yeah, now you'll hear me say don't be in a firing position unless you're aiming or you're ready to shoot. I'm coming out a little bit early because I'm just a little bit too eager. You know, it's the reason why is because it's got such a long reload that I'm not used to playing this tank. I really don't play this tank very often. I probably only played it 10 times or less. So we've got now AMX 5120. High explosive rounds, going to do perfect against him. I can do HE against that tank. Look at the mini-map. You'll notice that the IS-6 advanced towards the middle. I've got 4 allies on my team, or maybe 5. There's 5. We've got the M46, the YAG Tiger, the E50, the FCM-50T, and another tank that I cannot see. So we've taken up different positioning, and then in the south, we've got the 3 tank destroyers and the Emil, who are taking up sniping positions. And in front of me, we've got the FCM-50T, the T-32, the AMX-50-120, 3 tanks, which is almost half of the enemy team, pointing their guns at me. And of course, we've got some tanks behind me. They've got some new targets, which they may not be able to spot because of the brush. So I've created a big distraction for the enemy team. Still using the HE rounds. I'm anticipating where he's going to show up. See, he's a little bit smarter now. He's not showing me his armor because he knows I'm going to damage him. Was that a bounce on an HE round? I thought that bounced. You'll have to rewind. If that bounced off, that was an HE round that I fired at him. So now the tanks that were pointing their guns at me, they're gone except for the FCM-50T. The IS-6 got surrounded. He's out of the game. T-49 fled. FCM-50T, always try for the shoot and ram. Flubbed that shot. Only did 22 damage. Turned off the auto aim. Scores 9-1. Got to get behind him because you got allies on your team. Look at that. All those allies behind me. So I'm going to get behind him because you want to be polite. You want your allies to take him out of the game. You don't want to hog the enemy. I could have blocked him, prevented my allies from shooting at him, but I'm not going to do that. And also, I pinned him with my tank so that it would bump his gun so he can't aim and he can't move if he wants to reposition his tank. When you bump the enemy tank, it's going to mess up their aim a little bit, unless they're using the auto aim. So now that's 1,200 damage that I did, 2,300 spotting damage, 1,900 blocked by armor. The score is 10-2. And if you watch my videos, you'll know that I say you have to hustle if you want to get the remaining damage in the game. I don't like to use the APCR rounds. Even though I use a third, and a third, I carry a lot of APCR rounds, I rarely use them. I only use them if I'm in a tight spot. Got 3 tank destroyers left in the game. All at full health. But our team is swarming on them. Got 5 allies in front of me, plus the artillery. Artillery just took a shot at one of them. Like I said, the enemy's not going to come to you. If you want to get those shots in, you got to hustle. I have a replay from many years ago where there was 1 tank left, and we had like 13 tanks on our team chasing after him, and we all fired at 4 tanks fired at the same time, and you see 4 shots hit the enemy tank at the same time, and I got the kill. I wish I had that. I wish I knew where the replay was. Well, I know where it is. It's in a hard drive in New York at my aunt's house. I know it's crazy, but that's where it is. Okay, so the score is 15-3. I ended up with 1,200 damage, 2,800 spotting damage, 1,900 blocked by armor, and I was able to get shots on the remaining tank, even though I had a lot of allies in front of me, because like I said, I hustle. You get more kills and you do more damage when you hustle in the game. Okay, so that's the game. If you have any questions, post below. Let's move on to the next video. Yeah, hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com, playing World of Tanks. The tank is the Foch 155. This is a French Tier 10 tank destroyer, and the map is Fisherman's Bay. I just got this tank about a week ago, and I like playing it. It's a fun tank to play. It does a decent amount of damage. I think it does 750 damage per shot. And it's got like a 6-second reload, which is pretty good for being a high damage gun. I am going to get 3,000 spotting damage in this game. Most of my tanks are equipped for spotting, and the reason why is because I play by myself in close and enemy territory. So I need to be able to be as invisible as possible, and I want to spot the enemy before they spot me. So you'll notice the route that I'm taking. Instead of going where the enemy expects me to go, along the red line, I'm taking a little bit of a different route. All their guns are going to be trained on the red line to my left, but you can approach exactly where I'm going without being spotted. But you got to be careful because those tanks over there can definitely spot you. And you can definitely take them out of the game. So normally what you would do is count 10 seconds until you're unspotted before rolling into the bush. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take shots and try to advance whenever I can. Because I didn't become unspotted properly, they were able to detect me, but luckily I can still do some damage on these guys. You really want to shoot him with high explosive rounds if you want to save money, or the APCR if you can afford to do so. So looking at the mini-map, there is 2 tanks in front of me. One's a little bit to the left. It's going to be more dangerous if I advance past here. I've already got 1,500 spotting damage. And if there were other tanks, I wasn't keeping track. Okay, there's another Foch-B on the left side. And the STRV was just spotted. We did damage to those tanks. You can see the Centurion has half of his health. My team is slowly advancing. If you see where the T-110E4 is, I'm going to pause the game for a second. He's right where I was, right there. Now, I was taking shots from midfield, and what you can do, if you get incoming shots, you go here and just go down onto the lower level. If you look at the mini-map, if you go to that position right to the side of him, they can't shoot you from over here. So that's the safe position. You can either hide in the bush, or if you're taking too much incoming fire from this direction, just go over that mound and hide. The reason why I did not do it is very simple, because I forgot. I know the strategy, but because I'm haven't done it often enough, I haven't quite mastered it, so I forgot to go over to the other side when I was taking incoming fire. Looks like I flubbed a shot there. You can see that the tank from the midfield is shooting at me, so I'm pointing my frontal armor towards him. The tanks that are behind me, I'm not worried about. They're not going to be able to hit me. You can see that they just can't hit me. I did check to make sure that they can't hit me, and I verified that they can't. From this position, I'm pretty safe. So now I'm turning around, pointing my guns behind me again. I notice that there's only a Foch-B left, and he's over the ridge. So I don't have to worry about the Foch-B unless he does something aggressive and stupid. Now, these remaining tanks in the game are over the slope of the land, so I can advance to the midfield without worrying about them, and I'm going to reload. Got 2,200 spotting damage. See the Foch, I checked out for him. He's over the ridge. Got to worry about the T-57 Heavy. The only thing I can do is point my frontal armor. Looks like the slope of the land is going to protect me until I reload. I'm going to keep an eye on him. Scored 6-2. One thing you don't want to do, I've got a couple seconds left for my reload, and I'm not used to playing this tank in that really long reload, and I don't play autoloaders often enough, but I exposed myself when I should not have. It's very dangerous because he can hit the weak, the rangefinder, the binocular rangefinder up on the top, and you don't want that to happen. So you don't want to be in this position where he can shoot at you, and he's obviously aiming his gun at me. Oh, actually, maybe he wasn't. Oh, yeah, that's funny. The grill ran into me. I remember that now. The score is 8-2. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of action for the remainder of this game. But remember, if you want to get those final hit points, you got to chase down those targets. You can't expect the enemy to come to you. Okay, so I got 3,100 spotting damage in this game. It was an all tier 10 battle. I did 500 damage myself, and I helped my team advance on the west side. Surely we won the west side because of my advancement and my team advancement. It's a good strategy. This tank is a Type T-34. This is a Chinese Tier 5 medium tank. The map is Wide Park. Now, my strategy is always to play in the middle, use the trains to block from being hit, and allow you to spot the enemy. There's a spot over here that I'm approaching where you can shoot across and you've got some protection from the trains. But you can also get hit, so you got to be very careful. Right over here, you can shoot across, and it's somewhat of a hull down position. But ideally, you want to rush over to the enemy side, and you want to invade the enemy territory and create havoc, and that's what I'm going to try and do in this game. Normally, what happens is, all of a sudden your whole team rushes over at the same time. I'm going to do it earlier than normally would happen. A lot of the enemy team went to sniping positions up on the hill in the southeast, and a lot of the enemy team is in the southwest, and then you've got a few snipers in the back. So when you make the run to cross over, there's a few things you got to know. Number one, you see where that M4 is? He's somewhat near the position that you're going to end up. I'm going to point, if you look at the mini-map, I'm going to point on the mini-map where you want to go. It's going to be behind this building. And the reason why is because if you take the route headed in that direction, you're going to have the most options to hide behind solid objects, behind buildings. So you have to run through here, around these silos. Ideally, you want to go through the gap over here. And you want to get to the other side of this building, and then you want to keep on going and get to the position where the M4 is, but behind him. And tanks will be able to shoot at you if you're not in a safe position. So you'll notice that getting to this building is one of the positions where you're relatively safe. You can see that one of my allies, the Leopard, did cross over with me. Those tanks off in that corner can't hit me. The tanks over in that corner cannot hit me. The only tanks that can hit me are the ones that I go after. You got the M4, there's a Type T-34, and then I believe a KV-1S. Those are the three tanks that I'm going to be shooting at, and I have to keep them spotted because I need to know if they're going to advance against me. The Type T-34 is not advancing against me. There's a KV-1S that was just spotted. He just fired his gun. You can see the Stug came over, was able to take one of the tanks out of the game. The KV-1S didn't know that I could shoot at him through the gap. Don't have to worry about the rear flank. That was a nice ricochet off that tank. That's not going to do any damage. You got to use high explosive rounds if you're going to hit him side scraping like that. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to use the high explosive rounds against them. I have not yet mastered this technique, which is why I'm being a little bit slow to go across. And when you've got allies that are firing at your targets, let them do it. You don't have to be the one to do the damage. Let your allies do it. So now that M4 is going to be a pain in my butt. He's going to keep shooting at me. And I'm a one-shot now. So now I'm in a dangerous position. Notice that I now have 4 allies that crossed over with me. And the score is 8-5. And there may have been more that crossed over that died that I didn't notice. Now the logical thing to do here, we've lost the KV-1S. We've got the KV-1, which is near full health. I could shoot at him, I'd have to hit his frontal armor. And the last option is the M4, who only has like 4 hit points. I should have used the high explosive rounds. Oh, 13 hit points he has. But you'll notice I couldn't find him when I went into the scope. He's right there. I improperly used the scope. Ricocheted. I believe it was 2 ricochets in a row. Miss. All the things you don't want to happen. Miss. Miss. Very tricky when you got a guy whose gun is trained on you. So we just lost a Churchill. The KV-1 took him out of the game. Scores 11-8. We still have an advantage. I've only got 1 ally with me and the T-67. The T-1 Heavy and the T-67. Obviously this is bad driving. I didn't want to hit the Stug. KV-1 becomes unspotted. Took him out of the game. Okay, so the M4 was able to finish me off. Scores 13-10. T1 Heavy is a one-shot. I think he's going to do something risky. This T1 Heavy here. Now, in this type of a situation, the smart thing to do for the T1 Heavy is to wait for his allies, the T67 and the IKV, to surround the M4. Yeah, you still go in for the shot, but let your allies be in firing range before you do it. But, you know, the T1 Heavy did not do that. And you look at his angle, this is not a good angle. Too much of his side armor is showing. So he was able to take the M4 out of the game. SPG was taken out of the game. And the T67, the M4 was aiming at the T67, so the T1 Heavy was in no danger. And that's the game. So I wanted to show you this new technique. I don't play wide park very often. I'm sure you don't either. I've tried it twice, and that's about the success that I've been getting. Once I hone it down, you're going to watch out for this technique in future videos. Yeah, this tank is the M46 Patton. This is an American Tier 9 medium tank. The map is Sand River. Now, what I do on this game is I usually go through town. My strategy, if you watch my videos, you know I like to play the middle of the map, which is basically that position over here. But that position over here, everybody knows this position. And it's good if you want to do some sniping. And because people know the position, they set up to snipe against that position or to avoid it. So what I've been doing is I've been going through town for the past couple of months, and it allows me to spot some tanks. You can see there's a T-57 Heavy and a Maushin. I'm going to be able to spot their big tanks that are going through there. You got to watch out for artillery. If there's no artillery, it's very easy. If there is artillery, you got to be a little bit more careful. You don't want to knock anything down because you want to remain unspotted, and you want to hope that nobody comes in here looking after you. So you'll notice I'm careful not to knock anything down, even though I was just spotted. We got some good tanks spotted for the team already. Already got 350 spotting damage. If I'm knocking trees down, it's because I want to use them for cover. That means that there's a chance I'm going to sit here, and that tree coming down must have been an incoming shot. There are some places for cover, but it's very difficult. Notice that you want to keep an angle with the gun over the inside corner of the track. That's the best angle that I've discovered. I was able to take out a Foch B. You do have to be careful when you cross over that road. The Maushin, if he wanted to, he could shoot at me through that road. I've taken shots from there before. So now what I'm doing is I'm cresting over here because I want to advance further. I want to see what else is out here. And, you know, obviously there's rewards from going deeper into enemy territory. I was able to find an SPG. It looks like one of my allies took him out. And by being this aggressive, my team is going with me. See that there's tanks following me. So I showed them that there's safety by going in through here. A lot of people are afraid. You have to master the art of hiding. Hiding when there's tanks shooting at you is what I mean. Then you can go deeper into enemy territory. You'll notice that I'm not going forward over the hills. I'm using reverse gun depression, so they're going to see my turret still. They're not going to see my hull when I do this. This is a method you use for tanks that don't have good gun depression, but obviously have. Look at that gun elevation. It's hardly anything. If I went forward, there's a risk that they would see my front hull armor. You'll also notice that I am firing high explosive rounds at the enemy tank. It's not going to do as much damage, but it increases the chance that it will do damage. I did only 43 damage on that particular shot, but if I used AP, I might have done 0. And also, when you use the high explosive rounds, there's a good chance that I might damage his ammo rack. It's easier to do it with high explosive rounds than it is to do it with the AP ammo. You see that my team has advanced. We've completely cleaned up in the south. The score is 10-2. We've only got a couple of tanks left. Now look at where I am on the minimap. I'm all the way behind. I'm the last one, most southern tank, other than the STRV. We've got 5 tanks left in the game. If you want to get more damage, you got to chase after those targets. I got 1,180 damage, 2,100 spotting damage. Let's see if I can get more damage in this game. Now, isn't that fun? Where he's headed, he can't really escape from unless he knows some special trick to get out of there. He might be... Oh, maybe he did make it over. No, he's stuck. Yeah. He came down on the wrong side, so he's stuck. Okay, so the score is 12-2. We got somebody capping. And other than the guy capping, I am southernmost on my team. There's 3 enemy tanks left in the game. I was able to pick up another 396, another 400 damage, plus 91 spotting damage on that bat chat. So you can see that my team, most of my team is advancing except for the SPGs and the guy who is capping. And there are 2 tanks left in the game, one of which just crashed. So we've got the AMX-30 as the final enemy tank. Let's see if I can get some damage on that tank. I'm still at the back of my team ranks. And when I see this, I wonder, you know, why hasn't my team encircled this guy yet? You'll notice that the WZ doesn't look like he's going too fast, and he might even be going in the wrong direction. But now when you look at the mini-map, it's a little bit of a different story. So the STRV was able to take him out, but if you look at the mini-map, you'll notice that I'm no longer the most southernmost player on my team. I'm almost third in line. Me, the LTTB, I would have been third in line to take a shot at that tank. And the reason why is because I went as fast as I could. And those other tanks, it's not because they're slow. I only do 48 miles per hour. You know, these other tanks can't be that slow. They don't understand the strategy of chasing after the enemy in order to get that final damage. Okay, so I ended up with 1,500 damage and 2,200 spotting damage. This tank is the KV-220-2. It's a Russian Tier 5 heavy tank, and the map is Sand River. It's also an Assault Defend map. I absolutely love Assault Defend. Whether I'm assaulting or defending, I love it because it's a little bit more of a fast-paced action, put a little bit more pressure on the enemy team, and that's what I want. Where I'm going to go is not the way to go. I know that this is not the way to go. You want to avoid going this way because there's a good chance you're going to get stuck, and your team doesn't always help you. I did get stuck. Luckily, I was able to get out. This is a premium tank. It's okay. It's kind of like the Russian Churchill. It's heavily armored. with a gun that's not that strong, but I love the Churchill better than this tank. Now, I'm going to do a move here that you're never going to see. Other people would call it stupid. I'm a good player, so I'm going to handle it pretty well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delay the enemy team a couple of minutes. And it's going to allow my team to take some shots on them. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of spotting damage, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to advance to the enemy territory. Missed that shot. I'm going to advance to the enemy territory, and for example, the KV-1S, normally what he's going to do is he's going to advance all the way over to that spot, and I would sit over here and snipe across as they try to cross that gap. But what's going to happen is they're not going to be able to advance, and we only have the Ram set up in a sniping position. I don't know if those tanks in the back, yeah, perhaps the Wolverine will be able to, no, I don't know. Difficult to see. We don't really have good sniping support, but I'm going to prevent the team from advancing. And I'm a heavily armored tank, so you'll see that they're bouncing off of my tank. For some reason, that T-67 bounced off of me, but it did not show up on the bottom. You see, we got a couple of heavily armored tanks. The AT-2, the Excelsior, the KV-1S. I'm getting some spotting damage. They're taking hits. I didn't get spotting damage on that Excelsior hit. But you'll see that they're going to try and advance, and it's going to be difficult for them to do so. So they're all coming after me now. So I'm going to reverse. I don't have a good angle. You don't want that type of an angle, and you don't want tanks shooting you from behind. Fortunately, that T-67, he's not going to keep on shooting at me. I don't know why. Maybe someone else is going to keep him busy. Finally, I angled my tank. I waited too long before I angled my tank. Didn't have luck with his frontal armor. I was unable to penetrate. And because I don't like to use the APCR, I avoid using it at all costs. I was not able to penetrate. But keep an eye on, let's see what's changed in the game. We still only have one sniper, which is the Ram 2. Those other tanks, I don't think that they're in a sniping position because they're a little bit low. Perhaps the Wolverine is. It's possible that the Wolverine is. The second thing that happens is they only have 7.5 minutes left in the game. Now, if you play Clan Wars, you'll know that they have a 6-minute rule. When it gets down to 6 minutes, that's when they advance. Because when you get to the 6-minute mark, you have to advance, otherwise you lose your opportunity to cap. So I'm going to just stay low. You know, I'm taking shots on them. They're ricocheting a lot off of my armor. But I'm still in the game. I'm not going to be able to disappear completely. You'll notice that in order to hit the Excelsior, it's better to drive up the hill than to drive towards the tank. They're still bouncing off of me. So they finally took me out of the game. I only did 200 spotting damage. However, let's review what's going on here. We've got the Excelsior that only has 96 hit points left. KV-1S only has 200. He lost 2/3 of his hit points. The AT-2 lost about 1/4 of his hit points. The KV-1 never advanced. There's only one kill in the game, and there is 7 minutes left. So now, the first couple of minutes of the game, they totally lost without even advancing to the point where they normally advance to. And the AT-2 is a slow tank, so it's going to be difficult for him to get into a fighting position. So that's what I did. I just wanted to show you that you can play this position to delay the enemy. And obviously what I could have done was I could have driven around that way and ran away. But this is not a fast tank. Because it's not a fast tank, I can only run away so far. And I had the crossfire from the T-67 and potentially the Churchill. And notice now that the enemy is advancing quickly, which they weren't doing before. Okay, so that's the video. Let's move on to the next video. Yeah, this tank is the M46 Patton. It's an American Tier 9 medium tank, and the map is mines. I'm going to get 4 kills in the game. I'm going to do 2,400 damage, 2,500 spotting damage, plus I'm going to do a rear flank. I'm going to go all the way to the south to the K1 area. I'm going to get behind the enemy, and I'm going to shoot them from behind. If you watch my videos, you can see the same maneuver done in previous videos that I've done during the past month. And you don't need a fast tank to do it. This one does 48 kilometers, which is a moderate speed. It got sloppy driving over here. I love this style of tank. That's 366 damage against the Panther. And look at that, he doesn't even know what's happening. You'll notice that I'm shooting for where I think his ammo is going to be and where his crew members will be. Even though the ammo rack might be stored a little bit lower. So I got 725 damage. Normally, through the trees, if you look on the mini-map, look at where the enemy is in the F5 area. From there I can hit them. Oh, this Scorpion, bad news for him. A lot of Scorpion players are really good. This is not one of them. Unfortunately, that Scorpion's days are numbered. There was a splash noise behind me. Never hear that. So I got 2 good shots. I got up to 1,400 damage, and I got 1,800 spotting damage. I got spotting damage on the Lorraine, 1,000 spotting damage on the Lorraine, and I got 700 or 800 on the J Panther 2. The J Panther 2 was visible at the start of the game. Scores 4-1. Oh, so sorry. Now, as I was saying, I love the M46. I like this style of tank, like the KR Ripper and the tanks that are similar. And the reason why I like it is because they got good mobility. The guns are not special or amazing, but I like being able to get around very quickly, and I like the strong turret. You can go up against heavy tanks with this tank. That's why I like it. For this, you want to use a high explosive round when you can only connect to a little sliver of the enemy tank. Use an HE round. Flub that shot. Scores 6-3. I just took a lucky shot. Now, where that tank is where you're going to get them. So, if the enemy team is losing, this flank works. There is a video that I did, I don't know if it was this week or last week, where the enemy won. And because they won, the rear flank didn't work because they weren't on this part of the hill. They had advanced and gone over the hill. So I had to chase after them. Ah, flub that. Now look at this. Watch what's going to happen. No matter what you do, you just can't win, right? So that was stupid playing. I got a lucky shot right through the gap. So basically, I was going in the wrong direction. While he was reversing, I was going the wrong way. And then when he was going forward, I was going the wrong way. It was just a stupid mistake. Scores 10-6. We've got 3 tanks up here, but they're not going to be difficult. They're going to be pretty easy. I got 2,300 damage, 1,800 spotting damage. Normally when I see a Foch, I got a Foch B. They're dangerous tanks. So normally when I see it, I'm afraid of it, but not in this case. He was lucky because there's a dead tank there. But I had open shots on him, and it looks like he's in the distance there. So I'm going to obviously get closer. You want to go for that spotting damage. When you reverse, notice how I'm not reversing. I'm reversing perpendicular to him. so that if he wants to get me, he's got to go out a lot further to get me. I'm also requesting platoons for some of my teammates. I'm working on a mission, 8,000 damage as a platoon. So he's out of the game. The Foshby, I've got enough hit points I can go after him. And he's the last tank in the game. Ideally, you're going to ram him, not going to do a lot of damage. I didn't, unfortunately, get the damage against that tank, but the final results, 2388 damage, 2555 spotting damage. The score was 15-7, and that was a successful rear flank with the M46 Patton. This tank is the RU-251. It's a German Tier 9 light tank, and the map is mines. I'm going to get 4 kills. I'm going to do 2,600 damage. Now, you have to remember that there's different maps, different modes. You've got the encounter mode, and you have the standard mode. So, based on what mode you're playing, the tanks might be going towards the lighthouse, or they might be leaving the lighthouse area. So if they're going to the lighthouse and you don't spot anything going over there, then you know it's safe to go all the way down to the K1 area and do a rear flank. But if it's an encounter mode, you can't know if it's safe because there might be tanks that are there that stay there that remain unspotted. The other thing you can do is there's a little island over here. You can go sit in that island. You can rush to that island and spot if you want to. I've done it before. And I usually go up to this bush because once you get to this bush, you can spot enemy tanks without being spotted. You'll notice that, okay, I wasn't spotted the first time, but I was spotted the second time. You can reverse and double bush if you want to. I usually don't, I just back up, it's no big deal. What I do is, if I fire, I do count. I count, 10 seconds until I'm unspotted. Obviously, I should be either side scraping or playing behind the bush if I don't want to take damage, but I'm not that concerned about taking damage. I knock down the tree to kind of trick the T-28 into thinking that I'm leaving. He needs to be respotted. You'll notice that I waited before I fired, and the reason why I waited is because I wanted to see if he spotted me. I wanted to see if I was still spotted. I wanted to see if he would fire at me. You'll notice that the enemy tank is winning in the hill. And because they're winning, it makes it difficult to do a rear flank. Because when I get to the rear flank, the enemy tanks will be gone. So what you do is you go out here to the red line. I spotted the SPG. When you go through the water, this tank is going to slow down in the water. My speed is down to 35. So be aware that this tank cannot go along the red line at full speed. Now normally I would come to this position. If you want to see me play this position with other tanks, watch my previous videos. Like I said, because the enemy won, they've left that area, so it's going to be difficult to hit these tanks. Like, let's see, the Ferdinand, the Emil. I had an opportunity for the T-29, but they're too high up. Look on the mini-map where they are. They really got to be a little bit lower, the sectors below, in order for you to hit them through the bush or over through here. Now, what's going to happen here is we've got the T-54, and he's got more hit points than me. He's better equipped. Maybe he has a better gun. He's probably a better tank to go up against this AMX 5100. And we've got a T-29. Honestly, I expected more from the T-54. So what's going to happen is we've got this autoloader. You don't want to wait when there's an autoloader, because if he's reloading, you could have 40 seconds to go in and take, 5 or 6 shots at him. If you wait, he's going to sit there and reload. So it's dangerous to wait when there's an autoloader. You don't know how many shots he's fired. Excuse me. Now the T-54, we should go after this AMX 5100 2-on-1. But the problem was I was confused about the fact why wasn't I able to hit any of these targets. I didn't pay attention to the mini-map. I didn't realize that they were out of my range and I wasn't going to be able to hit them. Number two, I was expecting the T-54 to move on this AMX 5100. If he had moved on the AMX, I would have gone in immediately to get a 2-on-1 situation, because I was worried that if I had advanced, the AMX, of course, would shoot at me, and I couldn't really afford to let that happen. So it's going to cause problems for this game. Did the T-54 just get hit? Yes, somebody hit the T-54, and look at what happened. Took him out of the game. So now I'm in a difficult situation. I'm going to be able to hit that T-29 and help out my ally. But I didn't really know what to do. I'm still confused, thinking, can I hit those targets? Stupid me, I should have gone after that AMX. Took a shot at him. I think he's going to take a shot at me. You'll notice he's running. If he's running, I got a T-29. He's probably not reloaded. Look how much time I waste. This is a point where I should be running in after that AMX 5100. I'm concerned about the fact that my team is losing. And I waited too long. Too much time is being wasted trying to hit a tank. He's all the way on the other slope. Artillery hit a T-29, did some damage, possibly stunned him. Finally, I said, what am I doing? Go against that AMX 5100. And I didn't advance far enough. Perfectly safe for me to advance. All you got to do is go right up to here, to this location where this rock is. You see, finally I go up against the AMX. You want to watch his gun. Very important to watch his gun. You'll notice the AMX did the right thing. He made it so that I couldn't hit him. But I did too little. Luckily, the T-29 did take him out without taking any damage. The score, unfortunately, is 9-12. Now we've got 3 of us left against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Was able to take that tank out of the game. Now, me and the T-29 and the S-51, the smart thing to do is for me to spot and for the T-29 to shoot at any target that I spot. And I know that we're being capped. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go up the mountain. None of those enemy tanks are up on the top of the hill. You're going to go to the bush to spot, get one shot. Luckily, I was able to go after this tiger. I took some damage. Was able to take him out of the game. Unfortunately, now there's an Emil that I have to worry about. And I'm spotted. They know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll be able to reset the cap. Gotta reset that cap. It looks like I did. Took another shot because I was not spotted. Worried about the Emil, I had to dive off so that the Emil couldn't get me. Missed my next shot. Couldn't line up a shot on that tank. Poor driving here. Now, again, this tank has really bad rear gun depression. So you can't expect to shoot over the rear of your tank and hit whatever you want. Ferdinand has really strong frontal armor. Going to have to use HE rounds against him. And it's long distance. HE rounds at a long distance are not... there's slow velocity. Notice that I didn't penetrate. I failed to switch to the HE rounds, and they capped me. My shot did not penetrate. Did 2,600 damage, 300 spotting damage, and this was a loss. The enemy capped us. And the T-29 was moving into a position where we could have reset the cap. If I had reset the cap, we might have been able to pull this through. Yeah, hello. This tank is the M6A2E1. It's also known as the Mutant. This is an American Tier 8 heavy tank. The map is Ensk. I'm going to get 4 kills. I'm going to do 2,500 damage and 1,200 spotting damage. basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my standard strategy. I'm going to go up the middle, because going through this area, you can go quite far into enemy territory. It's perfectly safe. As for this tank, it looks like an awesome tank. It's not that great of a tank, so if you don't have it, don't worry too much about not having it. You're really not missing that much. I'd like to do an in-depth review of it, but it's not the greatest tier 8 tank. Okay, so you'll notice that from this position, nobody can really shoot at me unless they have to go exactly to that location in order to take shots at me. And I don't have a really good angle. I should really angle my tank better. But he is destroyed. So basically, I'm able to spot, for example, that WZ-111. As I passed by him, I was able to spot him. There's often tanks where that Leopard is. I often find tanks exactly where the Leopard is, so watch out for that position. It had an interesting ricochet. You will spot SPGs. If you advance to this position, don't be surprised if you spot an SPG. Obviously, we have a tank destroyer that's showing up. You'll notice that I saw him as a threat and I angled my armor. He did bounce off of me. Look at the angle of my gun over the inside corner of that track. Sometimes I aim exactly for the gun, and the reason why is because I try to damage their gun. If you damage their gun, they can't fire. Ideally, you want to hit the collar, but it's almost impossible to accurately hit the collar. And look at that, able to flank that guy. What can he do? You know, he's stuck in a crossfire, and I ammo racked him. So this Leopard, remember, the Leopard was over there off in the distance. So he came all the way around here to get me, and he did the right thing. He went behind all those buildings where it was nice and safe for him to get to a position where he can shoot at me. But his armor is very light, so he's only going to be able to do so much. I'm going to shoot at him, and obviously he's out of the game. You can see that it was a very risky incoming shot from the artillery. He should not have shot at us like that. Often you'll see that I do auto aim first and then I go into the sharpshooter mode on the second shot. I did get 800 spotting damage on the Yag Tiger. Our team is winning 12-1. You'll notice I'm still angling against the ROM. The reason why I use the auto aim is because driving and angling is all very important. I always have that angle. Using the auto aim allows me to have that defensive angle. It allows me to drive in a way so that there's obstacles between me and the enemy, etc. That's why I use the auto aim. I switch to the sniper mode when I need to use it. It does mean that I will ricochet, I will bounce a few shots off the enemy. Okay, so I did get 4 kills. I did 2,500 damage, 1,780 spotting damage. And that's the strategy. If you want to see the strategy with different tanks, other outcomes, watch my previous videos. Almost every week I have a game using a similar route through the train yard. This tank is the Leo. This is a Swedish Tier 7 medium tank. The map is Erlenberg. This is one of my favorite maps, Assault Defend. I love Assault Defend because I like the action. I like the fact that people are under pressure to play aggressively. I take advantage of it when I'm defending, and I play aggressively when I assault. I like being able to go after campers that are defending. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I like to go to this position. You see a tree fell. So there's a fast tank in front of me. From here, I can spot. I'm using the binocs because I don't know yet if I'm going to use the gun rammer or the stabilizer because I just got this tank. I play a game or two to figure it out first. You can see I'm spotting some tanks. If we had some artillery, we'd do some nice damage to that AT-7. The T-29 is the tank you got to worry about. I don't think we got to worry about him much for this particular game. The reason why I like this position is that You can spot, you can snipe. If the enemy comes after you, you just roll back down to here for safety. You can go around through here into the houses and use it to flank the people on that far hill. And where that AT-7 is, there will be tanks that will be a little bit to its right. Oh, this is magic right here. Watch how many shots I'm going to take. And I don't get spotted. Three so far. Never spotted me. The other reason why I like this position, if you look over at the hills off in the distance, it's right at the edge of my range. I can help if anybody tries to cross through that field, and plus I only have to move to where this next tank is, and I can hit the tanks that are up on my side of that hill. So it's a really good position. And plus, from here you can easily come around when it's time to flank. If it's a light tank, I'm going to flank. We don't have good sniping support. We got the T-29, the VK, and the Jackson sniping, and obviously there's a bat chat here. So the sniping support is not good. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be a rough battle here. I screwed this up. I should have rammed the Hawk. Took out the AT-7. You want to stay low. Let's check out the enemy over here. You see these two tanks. They can hit me from where they are unless I get low. If I get low and close to them, they won't be able to hit me. You see that he just missed me. Obviously, I'm going to try and ram him if I can, but I wasn't able to. He has a smaller turning radius. Turning my frontal armor to be close to him, missed the ram. Turning the entire hull of the tank so that my gun turns faster. He thought he could outrun me. Well, he could a little bit, but not so much. He's out of the game. As soon as I was lining up to shoot the Panther, I had my gun pointed over the other track, perfectly aligned. As he hit my track, my tank spun, and I'm still in a good position. No need to realign my armor. Because there's no action going on, I'm going to aim manually. And he's out of the game. And I didn't take that much damage. I only took 180 damage. Now the M6, what do you think he's going to do? Something stupid or something smart? What do you think? He's not behind a tree, doesn't seem to know where anybody is. Oh, I guess he did shoot at me. Right through that turret. 2 long-range shots, 2,300 damage I did. My team is swarming on him. Now the T-29, he's low on hit points. I don't know if I did any spotting damage with him. Scores 10-6. Normally I'm in front of my allies, and I'm always the first one going into battle. But there's always going to be one exception. When I have targets to shoot at, I'm not worried about being first. And I don't be first because I'm trying to win an award or anything, but I do it because I know how to advance. I learned how to advance and how to be as stealthy as possible. And it helps your team because they need to know when to advance. It needs to be safe. You need to show them that it's safe to advance. I got 2,400 damage and 1,200 spotting damage. I usually go through the water and not through the bridge. Looks like we're going to sit here and cap. And we did capture the enemy base. That was 2,460 damage, 1,200 spotting damage. I got 2 kills. It shows you that my positioning works. I took out the AT-7, the HWK, the two remaining tanks that were sniping on that side. Obviously, my allies were able to take them down as they were distracted and pointing their guns towards me. And I took very little damage in this particular game. So the strategy absolutely works. It distracts the enemy. The reason why is because what most people do is they go head-to-head, frontal armor to frontal armor. And I bypass that. You try to get the flank, try to get them to turn their turrets away from your allies, and so that you can hit the side of the turret and the side of the armor, which is weaker. And I did this because when you play a lower tier tank, you can shoot at higher tier tanks if you hit them on the side. And that's how I developed this strategy. If you want to see me play this strategy using other tanks or from other spawns, watch my previous videos and you're going to see this almost every week. This tank is the Leo. This is a tier 7 Swedish medium tank, and the map is Pilsen. Now this game is going to be very interesting because the enemy is going to leave the flank open on the east side, and they're going to lemming to the west side. And a couple of weeks ago, I came up with a counter to this strategy. What I've determined is, you know, if they leave the flank open, the obvious thing to do is to advance as quickly as possible. So the key is to detect when the enemy leaves the flank open. I've got binocs over here. Even though some tanks might have snuck through, I didn't see anything come by. I've got a really good range, got a lot of allies on my side. I'm going to make the presumption that the enemy did not advance on the east side. And so what I'm going to do is, the problem with not knowing this is you don't want your allies to have nothing to shoot at. I've got all those tanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us on the east side who don't have targets to shoot at. The T-71 did kill the STR-74. So what you notice that my team is advancing quickly. The Cromwell, I get the benefit of finding a tank well that I thought was AFK, but it ends up he's not. So I got some lucky damage in for a tank that was AFK for a short period of time, who magically woke up. My team has completely scouted out the east side. The Leo is a nice tank. I don't like it when it's stock, but once I got the engine upgrade, I really like the Leo. It's fun to play. You can see that the Hellcat is low on hit points. Whatever he's doing is stupid. Now you can see that the enemy has advanced on the west side because they had our team outnumbered on the west side. And we have them obviously outnumbered on the east because they didn't go that way. Score is 7-3 though. We have a huge advantage here. Got 2 kills. Score is 9-4. We got 1 person on the cap. If you have the ability to shoot at an enemy tank and stay on the cap, I would get on the cap and shoot at the enemy, because you want to run that timer. You want to put pressure on the enemy. I played lots of games where we lost because the enemy capped and nobody was able to reset the cap, or we should have capped and we didn't. So I sit on the cap as much as possible. You'll notice that one of the tanks just got off the cap, which is going to lose us 12 seconds. The score is 11-5. They've got 3 tanks left in the game. 2 tanks left in the game. Base captured. The score was 13-5. I got 2 kills and I did 900 damage. The point that I was showing is that the enemy didn't cover the east side, and I took too long to advance. I should have advanced further, but the idea was that I had the binocs running, and I didn't want to move because when you move, it turns off the binocs. And I don't have a full spotting range with this tank, but my team did the proper strategy. They advanced rather quickly, and we came around behind and we won the game. Yeah, this tank is a Tiger II. It's a German Tier 8 heavy tank, and the map is Swamp. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and flank the enemy. I'm going to succeed at flanking the enemy. And our team's going to have a good game. Now, in terms of this tank, the Tiger II, I actually kind of like this tank. I don't really like the Tiger I style tank very much. This I was just goofing around, seeing if I could climb up this thing. And I know it's possible. In a future game, I did see an enemy tank that had climbed up here. But I wanted to see if I had the power to get up there, and obviously I don't. And I almost, I was worried about rolling it over, which would have been really stupid. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I go to a certain position. I used to go to the E7 area, but lately I've been going to a new position because the E7 allows you to hit the side flank of enemy tanks. This one allows you to hit the rear flank of enemy tanks. And when you go to the E7, you will be confronted by enemy tanks often. So I decided to try a different position, and it usually works out. However, the people are starting to learn this flanking technique. And I'm not saying that it happens every game, but occasionally I get surprised. Enemy tanks will jump off the ledge on top of me. They'll be a little bit more aggressive, even when we got backup snipers. So it's becoming a little bit more difficult to play this position. And I'm getting a lot more crossfire than I used to. Now remember that there's two positions. There's the G5 area, and then there's the D6 area. Depending on what side you play, same tactic, but you're going to be a little bit different, because over here I'm shooting at tanks in the northeast that are hiding behind a mountain, and if you play on the southern spawn, you're going to be flanking the southwest, which is a lot easier because they're where the buildings are. A lot more open. So I'm trying to tease this T-30 to come out of position. And obviously, I can't hit those tanks. Rely on the minimap. If the minimap says there's a mountain in the way, trust the minimap. Now, here's a position where I'm getting a lot of tanks that are jumping on top of me lately. They're being a little bit more aggressive coming down from that cliff. There is a position that is over there. You got to go around the corner to the other side. That's really safe, just like this position is really safe. And if you watch my older videos, you'll see sometimes I play in the other position. The score is 6-1, and we won on the northeast flank. So what basically, I had no reason to shoot at the northeast flank. So I'm going for the northwest flank now. We got a good spotting on the enemy. Unfortunately, I didn't think that a lot of enemy tanks were out in the open in this particular match. For example, that T-29 was out there. I missed a shot on him, but I don't think I'm going to get a shot on him again. These artilleries crossed right in front of me. Was able to take that one out of the game. And they were doing the right thing, but they left too late. They should have left earlier because the flank fell. So you can see I'm unable to hit that T-29 that I was able to get before. My team is advancing in front of me, and the enemy is beyond the hill. So it's safe for me to advance. The score is 9-4. We're pinning the enemy into a corner. Basically, you want to hit the gas. It's like I said, you got to chase down those enemy targets. If you sit in the back, enemy's not going to come looking for you. So you got to hit the gas and find somebody to go shoot at and ram. Don't worry about your hit points at this point. Be lucky if you can get a shot in. And I might have made the wrong decision. If I have an ally go one way, I'm going to try to go the other way. Flub that shot. You'll notice at T-30 I would normally turn right because I've got an ally right there, and I would rather go on that T-30 from the rear, even though we've got the Yag Tiger doing the same thing. It's just a standard practice that I use. The T-54, he's going to be difficult to get. He went after one of my allies. He did the right thing, which was instead of fighting 6
enemy tanks, he went for a lone tank, and he tried to stay alive. But he's out of the game. The SPG took him out of the game. So now that last final tank, I'm probably not going to get a shot on him. I got 2 kills. I did 1,000 damage. The score was 14-5. And that's the game. Yeah, this tank is a Tiger P. This is a German Tier 7 heavy tank. The map is Swamp. This game is going to be very interesting. I'm going to show you that I'm going to die early in the game. However, I'm going to have a huge impact on the game. And I've played different strategies. Because when you die quickly, you think, okay, I'm going to survive the game. But in order to survive, you have to stay behind friendly lines. You have to snipe from a distance. And you don't always... When you stay alive, you don't always have a chance to have an impact on the game. So this is going to show you I'm going to have a high impact on the game. I'm going to allow my team to kill a lot of tanks and do a lot of spotting damage at the beginning of the game. And unfortunately, I'm not going to live out to the end. But watch what happens. I'm going to a normal position. You really want to have camo on your tank. I had a problem where my camo accidentally got removed after I purchased it, and I re-added it after I played this game when I was going to figure out why I didn't have the camo. 2 of my camos were accidentally removed. So this is a position that I go to. Often I will get spotted here, so don't assume you're not going to get spotted. And you advance through here, you spot as many enemy tanks as you can, and you'll notice I've got 2 snipers behind me plus the Oni. I do not have 6th Sense, so this is my one tank that doesn't have it. So you'll notice that they already did 1,000 spotting damage to the Ferdinand and took him out of the game. Now the Panther is next, of course. My commander got hit. Got to repair that commander because I need him for my spotting range. And that Panther is shooting at that hatch right there, so he's going to be injuring my commander when he shoots there. And there's a T-95. So you got this T-95 who killed me. You know, the only thing I could really do is hide up against this here. But watch what happens. Now let's pay attention to what happened. The Ferdinand and the Panther are out of the game. There's an AT-7 that's also out of the game. I don't know if I was responsible for the AT-7. I don't see him on the list. But because the AT-7 was right in front of me next to the Ferdinand, there's a good chance that I was the one who spotted the AT-7. I wasn't paying attention. And I spotted the T-95. So we got potentially 4 tanks. And he's out of the game. So that's 2,000 spotting damage and 4 tanks out of the game because of my spotting. Now, obviously, I didn't kill these tanks directly. My allies did the actual killing. But it was because of the play that I did coming to this position that I was able to do that and give my team that advantage, plus take out one of the enemy's strongest tanks, which was a T-95. This tank is a T-34-100. This is a Czechoslovakian Tier 7 medium tank. The map is Redshire. This is going to be an interesting game. What's going to happen... This is patch 9.2, and they made a list of like 20 different maps where they fixed it so you can no longer climb up the mountains to what they call boosting, but it's going to happen in this game after the patch, and I've seen it happen in many games after the patch, so they didn't really fix all the positions. I go to a variety of different positions. You have to be careful because it's very easy to get spotted here. I take a lot of shots coming across here. I normally don't climb this area, but you can climb here. There's a rock and a bush to hide behind to do some spotting, but your spotting range is not enough to get the tanks on the hill on the western side. But you'll notice that I spotted this guy, the STRV. You're going to want to throw high explosive rounds at him unless it's the side armor. My allies are probably going to take him out. And there's a lot of tanks that climb into that position, which is why I'm happy that I spotted him. You see I switched to the high explosive rounds already. 248 damage. And I don't have the gun depression. And I don't have a good angle. Which is very important because he's probably got a really good penetrating gun. You'll notice now I angled my tank. Missed 2 shots in a row. And his allies will be able to hit me, so I got to be very careful. But I wasn't coming here with the anticipation of shooting at him. I came here to get his friends that might be driving on the way there. And this is very dangerous. Like I said, if he's got friends that are like where the T-49 is, they'll be able to hit you. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to hit that T-49. So being high is very dangerous. It's good for spotting, but it's bad when enemy tanks are shooting at you like that. Oni, is it? I'm taking an angle, but it's not a good angle. But I want to get behind the rock. I always knock trees down to use them for cover. Did 81 damage with that high explosive round. So we have a good idea now where the enemy is. You can see that they did not show up on the east side to fight. Either they were too slow to get there or they didn't want to go. Still using the high explosive rounds, and you don't want to do that in this case. I forgot to switch. Because this is a higher tier tank, I might have to use high explosive rounds against him. Now you'll notice that a UDES was spotted at the top of that mountain there. And surprise, surprise, he'll be there at the end of the game. He's going to be the last tank on the enemy team. You can see that the enemy is starting to get a little bit cheeky, taking too many shots against me. Now I wanted to go after that T-2605, T-26E5, but I noticed on the mini-map that the positioning that he was taking was okay. He's out of the game, so he's dead. He was going to take up a position where I could also receive incoming fire, and I had a lot of allies there. And what I really want to do, oh, you've got some guys coming up behind me. What I really want to do is spot tanks and sneak my way over. I don't want to be somewhere where I'm going to be spotted and the enemy's going to just start shooting at me. Now I know that UDES is there, so I'm going to go see if I can find him. He got low hit points, scores 3-3. Now watch how high I can climb. You'd be surprised. I don't agree with boosting. As long as it's fair, I think it's okay. You can climb up as high as right there. And you'll see me do it. And I do this in the game sometimes. You're right at the edge of the spotting range for the heavy tanks. So you can shoot at those heavy tanks over there if you got the correct gun depression or gun elevation. And if you don't get spotted. If you get spotted, they're going to slaughter you. So I don't have a lot of good luck from this position. But you can sit here, and I'm trying to spot that UDES. But unfortunately, I was unable to spot him. And we're not going to see him until the very end of the game. And the T-34 is going to come and do what I'm doing. And while we need the T-34 out in the field, he's going to be sitting over here trying to spot the UDES. And he's going to miss a great portion of the game, but he's going to spot that UDES at the end of the game, which is very important for our team. So when I leave, the T-34 looks like he might start heading in my direction. At some point, he's going to turn around and he's going to go back there. So we have the low was AFK. We have to come up with a strategy now for dealing with the UDES. We're not going to be able to cap. He's probably hitting that VK right now because it looks like those other tanks are behind the hills. So I know I'm going to advance along the red line. I'm going to take a chance that the UDES is not going to spot me. And it's going to work. Because I'm going to do it carefully. You know, if you get spotted, it's not going to work. If you don't get spotted, you just keep on going. Watch the terrain. Watch the terrain features. You see the T-34 now is going to look for the UDAS. Score is 9-8. The T-34 is in a tough position because he can't leave. If he go, you got three ways to leave. The way I go, through the river, or directly south. Whichever way we go, we're going to get spotted by the UDAS. So I decide I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to make it across. And we're going to get to the point where we've got, it's going to be like a 2-on-2, 3-on-3 type of game. There's going to be some mistakes made. I'm going to always warn my team, wait for your allies, at the end of the game. And we need to come up with a plan for the UDAS. Obviously, have one person spot him and the other one snipe him. And I'm going to study the cap. When I get a chance over here, I'm going to look at that cap to see if it's possible to sit on the cap but not get shot by the UDAS. And I don't think it's possible because there's a building there, but you cannot cap. Oh, there is a bush, but the UDAS is going to know that if you're capping, you're going to be in the bush. So he's going to shoot at the bush. So really what you have to do is you have to have all your remaining allies. Okay, so there I just got spotted. I don't know which tank spotted me. But you run for the lowlands because you don't want to get hit from behind. And I got to make it over this hill. Once I make it over this hill, I'm safe. You can see now it is a 4-on-4 game. I can't see the health of the remaining tanks. Someone just got taken out. The Ferdinand is at the base. When you see things like that, you start to wonder, was the Ferdinand at the base the whole game? Is he AFK? I don't know. I don't know if he's moved yet. And he's not really a fast tank. T-29, if he's stock, he's going to be slow. I missed my chance to kill that tank. Was able to get that one shot in, but I missed my chance because I don't know this side of the map very well, because I don't like to play the brawl type of style, so I don't go where the castle is. It's too much brawling for me. So I don't know where the gaps were, and he was in a gap, I believe, that I missed a shot, but I was able to get him during that one shot. So now we got a situation where it's 2-on-4. The UDAS has been spotted by the T-34. T-29 was taken out of the game. Whose fault is that? He really should have waited. I don't know who took him out. Okay, the T-34 took him out. He should have waited for me. I was only a few seconds away. He should have waited for me. Now the T-34's gun is pointed in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, I got spotted. And I missed a key shot. He takes me out of the game. I should have made that shot. There's no reason why I should have missed that shot. So now you got the Ferdinand and the T-34 remaining in the game. The Ferdinand is starting to move north. Now, it's very easy for what the enemy has to do. The T-34 on the enemy team will go and find our T-34, start shooting at him. Very risky. Take him out of the game. The Ferdinand is kind of far away. And then you got that UDAS up there. Now, the UDAS, if he's smart, isn't going to be playing around. There's a Ferdinand advancing on him. Maybe he doesn't know that the Ferdinand is advancing on him, but that's what's happening. And when you are in a position like this, sure, the UDAS can hit all over the map, but people from all over the map can hit him. So he can be hit from long range. And now we got the situation where we got our T-34 has two tanks he's got to defend against. Got a ricochet. He took one out of the game. If he's smart, all he has to do is sit there and wait. That was a wrong move. Backing up is a wrong move. Ferdinand's shot came in. Now he knows the Ferdinand's in the game. I advised my teammate to let the Ferdinand take the shot. Ferdinand got one hit in. All the T-34 has to do is sit there. UDAS knows he's in trouble. He backs up. And the Ferdinand takes him out. Lucky shot. And that's the end of the game. Score was 15-3. So this was an interesting game, and the reason why I showed it is because I wanted to show you that the boosting is still in the game, number one, And there were some key things with the teamwork that didn't quite work out at the end of the game. The T-29 didn't wait for me, number one. Number two, I thought I had a shot on that remaining, I believe it was a T-34, and I flubbed it. I missed it twice. I allowed myself to get spotted, and I was taken out of the game. And number three, the Ferdinand was at base from a large portion of the game, was not in a position to hit somebody. Maybe he was able to hit some of those tanks, but he didn't hit that T-34, wasn't in a position to do that. So there was a few key elements at the end of the game for teamwork that didn't really come together, but we did finish it off. And it's one of the things you have to learn, and the reason why people don't know it is because very few people are the final 3 or 4 players in the game. So you don't get a lot of chances to practice the teamwork element. So I wanted you to see the teamwork element so you can know when it's your time. Remember what I tell you. Wait for your allies, and always go 2-on-1 whenever you can. And don't worry about whether or not you're the one that gets the kill, because you'll probably get the spotting damage. Yeah, hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is a T-34-100. This is a Czechoslovakian Tier 7 medium tank, and the map is Steppes. I am going to get 1,400 spotting damage using my basic strategy, going through the middle of the map. Watch the path that I take. Right now I'm a little bit low, and when you're low you're not going to spot anything. If you want to spot, you have to get high. Notice that there's a bush over there. If you want to play the safe way, you can roll into that bush. You'll see tanks straightforward if you stay high, but because I went low, I was only able to spot that one tank. Go to this rock formation over here, knock the tree down. Didn't spot any tanks at their base on this particular run. Don't see too many people there. I got 5 snipers backing me up. With the rocks, you have to judge. You know, it's a little bit safer to be on the left, so I usually go to the left first. You'll notice there's another bush to roll into. Able to spot 2 artilleries, but unfortunately I was spotted. And you can see we've got a tank over here that took a shot at me. So now I got to watch out for all those threats. Got to keep an eye in all directions. So one of their snipers is out of the game. Got 950 spotting damage. This AC-4, he's a lightly armored tank. He's no match for me. Turning my frontal armor to face him. Obviously, I'm staying in a way to protect myself. It's more important to keep yourself alive than to do damage to enemy tanks. And he doesn't look like he's a very good player. He made a lot of basic mistakes, possibly because he's got that stun issue. You'll notice I'm going up the hill in order to shoot at him. Instead of going around the hill, I'm elevating myself in order to hit over the hill there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks are out of the game already. Now, 4 of the tanks are out of the game because of me. The guy, the T-34 that was up on the hill, no, it was a tank destroyer sniper. The AC-4 and the 2 SPGs. And now the artillery took out that T-34-85 that was shooting at me. So that's 5 tanks that are out of the game because of me, and the score is 8-2. Even though my gun my turret is damaged, I'm still advancing. You can see that our team won on the east side. So I gave my team a pretty huge lead, and that's all you have to do. I got 1,400 spotting damage, and I did 1,200 damage myself. It's like I said, it's more important to keep yourself in the game and to spot. You'll notice I'm staying close to the AMX up on the hill to keep him spotted, hoping that my team, for example, my artillery, will be able to take shots at him. On the west side, I unfortunately was taken out of the game. On the west side, for some reason, we don't have any tanks on the west side. We only lost 4 tanks. If we had, I wasn't watching the game, but perhaps they cleaned us up on the west side. And it's like I said, when a flank falls, that's when the tanks are going to go after you. And this WZ was smart enough to take me out of the game. Okay, so I did 1,200 damage, and I did 1,400 spotting damage. It was a very good game. Scores 10-4. We're probably going to win. I gave my team a huge advantage based on that spotting technique. Yeah, hello, this is the T-28 HTC. This is an American Tier 7 tank destroyer. It's also a premium tank destroyer. The map is steppes. I'm going to use my normal strategy. I'm going to go up through the middle, try to spot as many enemy tanks as I possibly can. Not so much to do damage, more for spotting, knock out the enemy snipers. This is a standard route that you're going to take. This tank is a little bit slow, so I don't expect to spot a lot of the enemy team at their base, but we will spot the snipers. This tank is very risky to go up the middle because it doesn't have a turret. Because I'm slow, I was already spotted, which means they probably have a scout that's forward, or they've just got good range. There is artillery, so I have to just keep the rocks defending me. When you knock the tree down, they're going to be watching, but I'm not knocking it down because I'm going to hide there. I'm knocking it down to see if somebody fires when I knock the tree down. So hopefully I've got 3 snipers who hopefully will be able to do some damage. You can see we've already got some spotting damage. 954 spotting damage already. Just from 2 tanks. The spotting damage was on both of those tanks. Somebody hit the Panther. You got another T-28 HTC. It's possible I might have hit that Tiger on that shot, but I think if I had, I think he would have died. If you watch my games, you'll notice that maybe I did hit him. He's only got 70 hit points left. I take a lot of blind shots, and once a day I hit an unspotted tank. This is another, where that T-34 is, that's another place where I hit a lot of tanks as they reverse. Get a lot of shots on tanks in that location. So if you see a tank there, it's worth the wait. He's probably going to back up. Even though he's not exposing enough. When he's low on hit points, he's more likely to reverse. Because that means that there's a threat in front of him. Scores 2-2. I've already got 1,500 spotting damage, which would be the value of 2 of my tanks. And because it is a tier 6, 7, 8 games, I've essentially done spotting damage to kill off 2 enemy tanks. You can see that the T-71 is coming with me, and I still have 3 or 4 snipers backing me up. So it is a little bit more safe to advance now, but you got to be very careful. With this type of a tank, if someone comes after me, I'm going to be very vulnerable. He didn't do a lot of damage. He shot an HE round at me. One of the strategies is to get as close as possible to the enemy, because if they don't have the proper gun depression, it'll be more difficult for him to hit you as you get closer. I could have hit him with that shot. I needed to keep on moving because there's a Tiger behind me. This is a position, you'll hear me say to go to this position. And then obviously I need to turn around because of that Tiger. Tiger's out of the game. Unfortunately, the T-71 is out of the game. I don't think he knew the safe positions, which is here and that rock right over there. He was a little bit out in the open. We have 1 sniper behind me. The OI is coming up the middle. The score is 9-7. It looks like I am turning around fast enough to defend against the ISU. You want to put the pressure on him. I know that I got that Leo back there, and I'm counting on him to help me against the ISU. And go in for the ram, which did absolutely nothing. You got to repair the driver. I am also a one-shot. When you don't have that driver repaired, you're going to turn more slowly. So this is a tank that needs to turn quickly. You need to have the first aid kit repaired on your driver. Got a poodle in front of me. And notice that the poodle was just spotted for the game, which means the whole game he was either hiding, he hasn't received any damage yet, or he was sniping from a distance, or he was not playing. Notice that I'm turning fast enough that I was able to get a second shot on him. When he goes up the hill, he's going to be slow going up that hill. That's your chance to catch up to him. You'll notice that I started reversing instead of turning. And he's going to keep ricocheting off of me. It's 3 ricochets. And because he got tracked, that's his loss. All he had to do was get tracked by somebody else. Even if it does no damage to him, I was able to take him out of the game. I was lucky that one of my allies tracked him. When you have that situation, you always want to distance yourself from enemy tanks if you don't have a turret. Try to get as far away from them as possible, or back yourself into a corner. Like if I had backed myself onto that rock, he would have had to go a longer distance to get around me. And that's the game. Got 2,400 damage, 1,800 spotting damage. Score was 15-8 and 3 kills. And I showed you I was able to successfully go up the middle, get a high damage, reasonably high damage game, and good spotting damage, even using a tank without a turret. But I will advise you, it's very dangerous to go through the middle without a turret. Very risky. Now in this game, I'm going to spot for my team in the very beginning. And you're going to see a lot of enemy tanks are going to be spotted. But it's going to become a 5-on-1 situation because 2 of the fast enemy tanks are going to come after me. And then you're going to have the artillery shooting at me. I don't know how many artillery is going to shoot at me. It's going to be either 2 or 3 artillery. And then there's going to be another medium tank that's going to come after me. And on top of that, there's going to be other tanks pointing their guns at me. So it's going to be, I'm going to be way outnumbered. So you can see that the WZ probably spotted those tanks in the distance. And, you know, I'm going to take a shot at one, miss. I go to the rock over here. You see you got incoming artillery. I've been spotted. And I noticed that the T-67 is going to come after me. You have to have amazing situational awareness. You got to know what's going on at all times. You see him on the minimap. There he is. Because of the minimap, I saw he was there, and I noticed he's coming after me. My allies are going to help out. Still got artillery fire coming in. That was 3 artilleries going after me. Now we got the Chaffee. Keep the frontal armor pointed towards that that tank. Ram him. I got hit by the Crusader SP. Got hit by the LEFH artillery. And then there's going to be another tank that's going to come after me. Got the VK shooting at me, and then this other tank over here. Now, I play this game all the time, and I play in this position. 90% of the time, I don't have any problem. 90% of the time, I go and I wipe everybody out. The only time you fail is if you don't have enough snipers supporting you. But we have the M4, the BDR G1B, and the AT2 sniping. So we got some sniping support. But the problem was the enemy team was very aggressive. We had, I counted 3 different artilleries were shooting me, or possibly the LEFH got 2 shots in really fast. The STRV came in. The VK hit me because I was not able to protect myself. And the T-67 and the Chaffee. So we had all this going on at the same time. That's what it takes. That's why when I see an enemy scout, I go after them. Take them out of the game. So that's what they did. They outnumbered me, got 500 damage and 600 spotting damage. Didn't panic at all. That was me not panicking. I was just going one after another. And you'll see I almost pulled it through, but the STRV also came in. And if the STRV had not come in, I would have run to this rock over here and just sat there and hoped that the Arty doesn't shoot at me. Because Arty's in the game, what you have to do is you have to run to the rock, pretend you're going to sit there, and then leave, you know, back up, and then hope that the artillery shoots at the rock when you're not there. Okay, so that's the game. Let's move on to the next video. Yeah, this tank is a Tiger P. This is a German Tier 7 heavy tank. The map is Arctic region. If I'm delayed, it's probably because maybe my ping time was too high, and I have to go to the desktop to see if there's an application causing my network usage to be too high. So this tank is, I hate this tank. I don't have 6th Sense on it, but I just hate playing the tank. And the thing about this tank is that it branches off to 3 different German heavy tank lines, all of which are good. Perhaps the E100, the Maus, and the VK. So you're going to end up playing a lot of tank. You're going to end up playing a lot of games in this tank. And there's a lot of this style of tank in the game, the Tiger style, and I really don't enjoy playing them that much. The gun's not that great, even though, you know, it's a German gun, so it's going to aim quickly, but it's probably not a high damage gun. I don't take the high damage guns. I always take the highest penetrating gun, because I'd rather have a gun that penetrates than a gun that does more damage but fails to penetrate. So I usually go to this position. From this position you can spot anyone that's up there, such as that Scorpion. And look how easily he's out of the game. He's only got 30 hit points left. I did over 1,000 spotting damage on that tank. So once that's cleared out, occasionally there'll be a second tank there. You move to this rock over here, where this bush is. You can hide in the bush, use the rock for protection. If you get spotted, you reverse to behind the hill, or you can go down into this lower area. But be careful about how far down you go, because you can get stuck down there. I've gotten stuck a few times. Having the fuel consumable gives you an advantage. From here you can snipe at tanks that are harassing your allies, but you got to watch out, because those tanks over there can definitely hit you. I do not have 6th Sense on this tank, so, you know, the worst happens. He hit my driver. You want to keep your driver in the game. There is artillery in this game, so watch how I try to keep myself in a position to make it difficult for artillery to hit me. Now that SU-101, I want to keep him spotted. Don't worry about shooting him. Just keep him spotted. Because there's artillery, I have to reverse. Want my allies to shoot at him. I did tee him up using the T button, so my allies know that there's a new target that's going to be within their shooting range, which he wasn't before. He was a lot further away. When he comes after me, watch what I do. I'm going to look how low I dip. He doesn't have good frontal depression. I know he's not going to be able to hit me. I have that tank. I love playing it. It cannot shoot over the front. But if he had come after me more, you just reverse more, get deeper into the dip. Look at that. Look at my positioning here. You can go even further. Go a little bit further down onto this white area. Makes it difficult for Artie, difficult for people to shoot at you. And that T-49 doesn't know what he's doing. I'm probably going to miss that shot. I didn't set up quickly enough. However, his days are numbered. He's able to get a lucky shot in that T-49, and I know he's going to die soon. He's not going to be in the game that much longer. Now, you'll notice that there are tanks behind me. That's another good thing about this position. So the T-49 is now out of the game. This position is good because when the enemy wins on the east side and advances towards your base, such as the Emil is, you can take shots at them. All I got to do is reverse, and I got a little bush to hide in. Now the SU-101, I'm keeping an eye on my allies to see if they can hit him. You see that a shot just ricocheted off of him. So you want to keep him spotted. Let your ally take him out of the game. He's out of the game. I got 1,100 spotting damage. The Emil... Okay, so you got to fix that... ammo rack. He's going to... If he comes after me, I'm going to run and hide as much as I can. And you want to switch to the high explosive rounds so you don't ricochet off of his turret. My allies are not in a position to hit him. Okay, maybe one of them is. The Panther looks like he can hit him. But I'm being a little bit cautious because I want to stay in the game. Notice how I'm going into that. Oh, is this the one where I went in the water? I hope not. Notice how far down I was able to go. If you go in that water, there's no way out. But from here, I can still climb out. So if you need to go here for safety, which I didn't really need to go in there, I probably went in by accident. Obviously, the easier way to climb out would have been to go to the right. Score is 9-7. Got to catch my bearing. I believe I'm going to make a mistake here. It's an easy kill. The ML and the T-54, it's going to be an easy kill against the ML. I'm going to screw it up. And watch how I screw it up. Enjoy the pleasure of watching how I screw up. Someone just took a shot at me. Ah! Didn't go through. I was at the wrong angle. Okay, so I did have that tank behind me shooting at me. Someone took him out of the game. And I did come in at a bad angle. I was at an angle to hit the enemy tank, but not at an angle to defend. I didn't have my strong armor pointing towards him. And where I hit him was right under the collar. No reason not to shoot there, but unfortunately it didn't penetrate. Scores 11-10. And I got 966 damage and 1,200 spotting damage. The point was I wanted to show you the position that I play. Very flexible. You play it from both sides. You play it whether you spawn from the north or whether you spawn from the south. And it's a very useful position. It shows you the different tanks that you can take out of the game, mostly in the south central area. If you want to see me play this area on other games, watch my previous videos and you'll see me play in the same location. This tank is the Type T-34. This is a Chinese Tier 5 medium tank and the map is El Haluf. I'm going to do a spotting run. I'm playing this tank because it splits into light tanks, and I've never played the light tanks. I believe the 5916. So I'm doing it to get to the 5916. One of the few branches in the game that I have not researched yet. This is a normal tactic. Now, when you're playing, if you get spotted, I usually keep on going. But your option is, if you get spotted and you're just starting out and you don't know what to do, you just turn to the right over here, hide behind this giant hill, and you're safe. The second thing to do is hide behind the rock, but you have to know how to position yourself behind the rock to avoid incoming fire. And if you get crossfire from all sorts of different directions, nobody can hide behind multiple crossfire. The worst crossfire you're going to get is perhaps somebody who's hiding up at the top of that hill. So I don't believe I was spotted, so I continue to advance, let my allies do all the shooting, stay in the bushes, stay low, move to the next row of bushes, keep your eye on that T-25, advance through the bushes. You want to make it to, you have two positions you can go to. Well, actually three. You can go here, which I don't think is that useful, but I've done it before. You can go up into here, which is where they expect you to go. And if you go this way, the enemy may come after you, especially if there's a lot of tanks up there. The last option is you go up this way, which I've done before, and it works out as long as you don't have snipers off over here. So if I see that the snipers on the east side don't exist, if we don't spot anything there, or if they get killed, I might go around towards the east in that direction, which is actually where I'm headed right now. If you watch my previous videos, you're not going to see me go this way. You're going to see me go the other way. The other way, you're more central, you can spot more. This way, you can hit those tanks that go in those positions. And he's not going to like it, I guarantee you that. He's not going to like it bigly. I'm going to keep it, well, he's at the edge of my spotting range. But he's got to be, that's the thing. That looks like I hit him. But then he moved and I got a splash. He's got to be right there somewhere, but I'm not sure where. There's only so many places for him to hide. And I don't have the accuracy, but I do have the rounds. I could keep firing all day if I wanted to. When I moved, he spotted me, which means he was probably in the open. But I noticed that he wasn't where I thought he was going to be, so he did move to a better position. Out of the game. Score is 1-2. So now from this position, you're going to be spotting a different group of tanks. In this case, the WZ and the Stuke. And again, you want your allies. I got a Hellcat and an IKV backing me up. And I'm going to look for those incoming shots, and I expect them to come in. He thinks he's going to come after me. He's wrong. All that's going to happen is he's going to take incoming fire. And he's out of the game. Now the Stuke is taking incoming fire. They already hit me. It's one of the things that comes with the game. If it's the French artillery, they can fire very rapidly, so you got to get out of there very quickly. Now, it says that there's 2 more tanks, the WZ and the T-25, and we know that the artillery's there. The WZ took that position, thinking he's going to flank me, and I guess he is. Well, it looks like it was the SPG that killed me. And now we can see where the enemy 2 tanks are. I only did 800 spotting damage. Let's see if I get some more spotting damage in. I often get a bunch of spotting damage. I hope you enjoyed today's videos. If you want to join my clan, it's at CBKS and CBKS2. I have another clan called CBSPG, which is for people who like to play SPGs. You know, at least 20% of the time, you're going to find some good SPG players in that clan. It's very important, if you like my videos, please subscribe and like the videos. I don't have a lot of subscribers right now, and it's difficult to justify making videos. I put a lot of time. It takes, you know, hours and hours and hours to make these videos. And if you want it, I would absolutely make videos every day similar to what you saw today if I had, you know, a couple thousand views every time I uploaded a video. So if you want to see more videos, please subscribe, add some comments, tell me what you think, like the video. If you have any questions or comments, or if there's anything that you want to see, please put it in the comments below.